السلام الله عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته حبايبي من طلاب وطالبات سنة أولى ثانوي. أهلا وسهلا بيكم في فيديو جديد. الفيديو ده إن شاء الله معادنا فيه مع شرح شابتر 8 بالترجمة بتاعته. فلو أنت أول مرة تشرفني في القناة سبسكرايب، وبفكرك الأحسن إنك تشتغل معايا بنوت بوك ومعاك بن قلم وورقة وتشتغل بيهم. ولو جاهز يلا بينا نبدأ الفيديو.
بالله عليكم اعملوا لي سبسكرايب ولايك، وقبل ما تخرجوا من الفيديو قولوا سبحان الله. باي.
Jim Hawkins. We prepared our weapons and the captain told us what to do. Doctor, you stay by the door. Hunter, stay at the east of the fort. Joseph can stand in the west. Gray and Trelawney will stay at the north. If the pirates get inside the north of the fort, we are in trouble. After an hour, Dice said that he saw someone coming. We all looked and listened, and we got our weapons ready. Suddenly, Joyce fired his gun. Then he heard guns firing at us from all sides of the fort. There was a lot of noise and smoke, but nobody was hurt. Then everything went quiet again. Did you hit anyone? The captain asked Joyce. I don't think so, he replied. How many people fired on your side, Doctor? Asked Captain Smollett. There were 3, he replied. How many on your side? Trelawney. Trelawney and Gray were not sure. They thought 7, 8, or 9. There was only 1 shot fired from the east and west. So, we know that the pirates wanted to attack mostly from the north. But Captain Smollett told us to stay where we were. We didn't have much time to talk. A group of pirates ran from the trees towards the north of the fort, and their guns started firing again. Some of the pirates tried to climb the fence, but Joyce shot 2 of them and 1 ran back to the trees. However, 4 were now inside the fences and 7 more continued to fire at us from the trees. Our men fired at the 4 pirates, but didn't hit them. They were now running up the hill to the fort, and one of them climbed up and took Hunter's gun. Another ran in through the door, where the doctor killed him. Captain Smollett then told us to go to the other side of the fort. I ran there quickly and suddenly found one of the pirates, Anderson, in front of me. He was going to attack me with his sword, but Gray saw him and killed him before I was hurt. At the same time, the pirates inside the fences were killed by our guns. I was safe, but others were not. Poor Jesse and Hunter were dead, and Captain Smollett was hurt. Have the pirates a gun? Asked Captain Smollett weakly. Some of them have gun, said Dr. Livesey, but 5 of them will never walk again. That's good, said Captain Smollett. There are fewer pirates for us to fight. I know that we can win. The pirates didn't return that day, so we had time to eat and look after the people who were hurt. Dr. Livesey said that Captain Smollett would get better, but he shouldn't walk or even talk if he didn't need to. In the early afternoon, Dr. Livesey took his hat and a gun. Then he put a map in the pocket and left the fort. What's he doing? Asked Gray. When we saw him walk into the trees, is he crazy? The doctor has a plan, I said. I think he's going to visit Pengan. That afternoon, I thought about where the doctor was. I remembered how good it felt to walk through the trees and on the beach. It was much nicer than staying inside the hot fort. I decided to take some biscuits and a gun, and I wanted to go down to the rocks where Pengan said there was a boat. When nobody was looking, I quietly left the fort. I walked quickly toward the east of the island. It was now late afternoon, but the sun was still high. As I went nearer to the coast, the wind became stronger and it wasn't as hot. Soon I could see the big waves of the blue sea, and then I walked down the beach feeling happy. At the end of the beach, I climbed the hill. I could see the Hispaniola with the pirate flag flying in the wind. And I could see Silver in one of the small boats talking to his men. I couldn't hear what they said. Also, I could hear the cry of the pirate, Captain Flint. The sun was going down and soon there was a mist. I know that I needed to be quick and find the boat that evening. It took me a long time to walk to the white rock where Pingun said his boat was. It was nearly dark when I finally found it inside a tent made of animals' skins. It was badly made from old wood and it was very small, although I thought that it would be very fast on water. Now I had my own plan. I thought that I could go to the Hispaniola in the night and cut the rope to the anchor. So I ate my biscuits while I waited for it to become dark. When I stood up later, there was mist everywhere. I picked up the boat and cried it to the beach. In the darkness, I could just see a fire where the pirates were sleeping in the trees, and another distant light from the Hispaniola. I put the small boat into the water and began my journey to the ship. I found that the boat was very difficult to steer, but the wind helped me to get to the Hispaniola. Soon I was next to the big ship and I began cutting the thick anchor rope. I could now hear some of the pirates talking on the ship. The man was called Hans, but I didn't know the other man. They both seemed angry. The rope finally broke and I moved away from the ship. As I was leaving, I saw a light in one of the windows where the sailors were talking. I don't know why, but I decided to look into the window. I saw that Hans and the other pirate were fighting each other. I sat down in the boat, but I realized that the wind was taking me quickly out to sea. Now it no longer had the anchor rope. The wind was moving the Hispaniola too. The wind took my boat into large waves. I closed my eyes and waited for a terrible end, dreaming of my home and the Admiral Pimple. The next thing I know, it was light and I found myself in the boat on the southwest end of Treasure Island. The sun was up, but I couldn't see it because of the high cliffs on the side of the island. There were big waves hitting the ropes below, and it would be impossible for me to take the boat to the shore. I remembered that on the map there was a place called Cap of Woods. This was a place of tall trees and it also had a beach. I would try to get there. The boat sailed well, but when I tried to steer it, the boat hit the waves and I was soon completely wet. I realized, however, that if I lay down in the boat, it would find its way through the waves on its own. I used a paddle to steer. The boat a little, and it moved very slowly towards the Cap of Woods.
وبكده يبقى خلصنا سنة أولى. أتمنى تكون استفدت من الفيديو، وانتظرني في فيديو قادم. لو أول مرة تشرفني سبسكرايب، وما تنساش لايك للفيديو، وأشوفكم على خير كلكم. سلام الله عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.